5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Around the board.
What's up, everybody? This is Around the Boards. Another week here with everyone where we talk about everything and, again, resolve nothing.
It's so funny.
So we're here with everybody, including our good friend, the Detroit Red Wings fan, Mr. Dylan Duncan.
The biggest head of the podcasting. You can say hi now.
Hi.
Oh, what a great introduction. Wow.
So this week we are going to talk about our Eastern Conference predictions. We're going to play a little game that was all Robbie's idea.
I'm a genius.
And what is this game called, Rob, huh?
I'm a genius.
What is this game called, though?
We're going to play sign, cut, trade.
Sign, cut, and trade. You heard it here first. So let's get into our Eastern Conference predictions and see what Dylan has to say for us.
All right. So are we talking about Metropolitan Division first?
Sure.
Your choice.
All right. So in the Metropolitan Division, I think I picked three teams. Pittsburgh, obviously, is going to finish number one, I think. I don't have much to say about Pittsburgh, so we'll move on.
They're good. They're always good.
They're good. They're always good. After Pittsburgh, I've got the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think that they've got a lot of younger talent and a good goalie, so they don't really need much more than that. I was reading earlier that they're possibly looking into trading for Gabriel Landeskog from Colorado, which would be interesting too.
That would be interesting.
If you trade for Gabriel Landeskog, don't you have to give up all that young talent?
Yeah, I don't know. We do know that Joe Sakic is kind of a stickler for trading.
Dumb.
So I don't know how that's going to go. I do think that they may struggle, though, because they don't have much veteran leadership on their team, though. So I don't know how that'll do in the playoffs, but we'll see. And then after that, I have the New York Rangers. So luckily somebody here is a New York Rangers fan. They can talk more about that than I can. So
Wait, you have the Rangers finishing top three in the division?
Yep.
And the Rangers fan on this podcast has them as a wildcard team?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to clear it up. Go ahead, Des. Take it over.
I have more faith in the Rangers than he does.
Well,
he probably watches more games than you do. That's why.
So that's what I got for the Met?
Yep.
All right, well,
you don't want to talk about the Rangers?
No. Well, he can go on into the Atlantic, and then I'll talk about the
All right. All right, so for the Atlantic Division, I've got number one, Toronto. Big, bold statement. Again, kind of similar to Columbus with the younger talent, but I think that they may have some goalie issues. If he can stay consistent, they could make a run for it, maybe. Second,
bold move, saying maybe and if.
Second, I've got, reluctantly, the Montreal Canadiens. I think that solid goaltending and then adding Jonathan Drouin may help. I'm not sure about their defense, but we'll see. I don't know what's past Shea Weber. I don't know. And then third, I've got the Ottawa Senators with Erik Karlsson and a bunch of good forwards, but they've got questionable goaltending with Craig Anderson's, off ice stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen there.
I don't think the Senators will be this good or as good as they were this year, is what I was trying to say. Okay, thanks, Des. Thanks for your input. Oh, okay.
And then also, I think that Buffalo may, I can't speak. Buffalo may surprise some people.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, no, I know I'm out of my mind. That's why it's a surprise. I think two things that they've got going for them. I think Jack Eichel might be playing for something, so maybe he'll put in a little bit more. And then if Alex Nylander can make their team, I think he'll help out with some scoring too, which would be nice. And then a team that I don't think is going to do as well as people think, Tampa Bay Lightning. Believe it or not, I think questionable defense with the addition of Dan Girardi may hurt them. But they also did get Chris Kunitz, who may help out with Steven Stamkos a little bit. So we'll see.
I don't think they have questionable defense. I think they're pretty solid.
I don't know. Dan Girardi's a liability, especially if he's going to be on the first D pairing with Victor Hedman.
Is he not an NHL defenseman?
He is an NHL defenseman, but
he's probably pretty fucking good.
He hasn't been an NHL defenseman for like 3 or 4 seasons now. So,
all right, if that's what you think, I will respect your opinion.
I mean, I can also agree with that too, because Dan Girardi definitely hurt the Rangers last year with the season and the playoffs and everything like that. He just doesn't have the legs anymore like he used to, especially if he's going to be playing on a top pairing with Victor Hedman, like you were saying with Tampa. I do not see that going too well, and Victor Hedman is going to have a load to handle there with both of them. So, I think
Victor Hedman is a good offensive and defensive defenseman, but we know Dan Girardi's not very offensive, so if Hedman's taking some chances, that may leave Girardi out to dry, which could potentially hurt them, especially in their division, which is pretty decent. So
Girardi just leaves himself to hang out to dry, like he's that terrible.
Yeah, so we'll see. And then also a note about Washington too. I think that the Olympic stuff with Ovechkin and Ovechkin having a distraction of the Olympics could maybe hurt him and hurt them too. So.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he already said he's not going, and I read the letter he wrote to everybody and everything like that, and it was pretty interesting, like how much how deep it was, and like it just really seemed like that letter came from his heart. I'm not sure if you guys read it or not, but it was pretty deep. But I don't think it'll affect him. He's a world class all-star and one of the best players in the league. So. I had to disagree with you on that one.
All right. And then what do you want to hear about the Red Wings? My predictions for the Red Wings?
Sure.
Over under 15 wins.
I think they're going to have a few more wins than that. I think Henrik Zetterberg may put up a few more numbers than he did last season, which would be nice. He finished with 68 points last year. I think he'll 75, 80 points now if he can stay healthy, and if Nyquist and Tatar and Larkin and Mantha can be consistent and help him out a little bit. You think
Zetterberg's gonna have 85 points?
I said between 75 and 80 points. So
how many goals do you think are in those 80 points?
20 maybe.
You think he's gonna have 60 assists then?
No, I don't know, but between 20 and 30, I don't know. He had 68 points on a shit team last year, so.
Yeah, 68 total points, and now you're saying that he's gonna get 60 plus assists.
No, I think
that's crazy.
No, I think no.
I think he might get like 40 assists and
maybe 40
15,
assists.
20 goals. So maybe 60 points again.
I think he's gonna have. He had 68 points last year when he didn't play the whole season, and he didn't have a good supporting cast. So if he can be healthy and if he can have a few players step up, he'll crack 70 and have a few more points. I think he'll play better.
I don't know. Just because he's healthy, he's still 1 year older than he was last year, and. Yeah. Not in his prime anymore, so.
Well, there are predictions, so who knows, right?
Okay, sure.
The next one I think is I think people know that Peter Mrazek may have had a shaky offseason. I don't know if anyone's read anything about it, but
we all know good on that save he made though the other night, huh? That was pretty nasty, right on the goal line. Okay.
Yeah. We'll have typical Jimmy Howard start good, get hurt, and then miss the whole season, and then Mrazek will.
I'm sorry to cut you off. They cannot start Jimmy Howard. I just don't see it. Like it's.
They pay him too much money not to start.
Yeah, if you're gonna pay that guy that much money, he's gonna play. Because otherwise, you just fucking buy him out or trade him for nothing if you're not gonna play him. There's no point in taking on a salary.
I think he'll start. He'll get hurt like usual, and then Mrazek will step up and fill the void for a little bit. And then I think Howard will come in at the end of the season and show up when it's too little, too late, like usual. And I feel like that Dylan Larkin may rebound from a sophomore slump, and maybe he'll show up a little bit more, which would be nice. And I think Nyquist and Mike Green are going to be traded midway through the season.
How many years left on Mike Green's contract?
I don't know. Too many.
More than 2? Then I don't think anyone's going to trade for him.
Too many.
Yeah, I think guys are stuck with him because no one wants to pick up that contract.
No, 2015 he signed a 3-year contract. So.
So it's like 1 year left.
Yeah.
Oh, then it's probably trade him to a playoff team that needs little help on defense, a little reassurance.
And then I think
maybe Tampa Bay. What if Mike Green goes to Tampa Bay?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what we would trade from. Probably just draft picks, I guess. But
draft picks, prospects.
Dan Girardi.
Yeah. I think, and then I think they're going to finish with somewhere near 90 points, maybe. And
wait, you're talking about the Red Wings?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay.
And maybe 3 or 4 points out of a playoff spot. So
wow,
I think they'll just miss it.
Breaking in that new Little Caesars arena, huh?
Yeah, right. Pizza, points.
The
pizza power play.
Okay.
But yeah, other
hot
than
and ready.
Yeah. Other than
sponsor us, Little Caesars.
Oh, and then I think Thomas Tatar may actually show up, which would be nice. He had his shoulder fixed in the off season, and he's got a new contract. If they play him with Zetterberg or Larkin and he has less turnovers, I think he could maybe show up.
So does that sum it up for you? Is that pretty much your
for the Wings? Yeah, I don't really have. I mean, the preseason just started, and Eastern Conference. Yeah, I think so. I can't really think of anything. I don't know what you guys think, but some pretty bold predictions. But
sure.
I still think you're wrong about Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Dan Girardi, I just feel like if you guys were like a coach of a team, wouldn't you put your best defenseman with the defenseman that's
with your worst?
Not worst, but I mean with the defenseman that's not been playing too great to try and spark him and help him get better? Does that make sense to you guys?
I mean, it can, and like I was even saying, like how I said it last week on the podcast with James is, just you could like I could just picture Dan Girardi having a freaking breakout season where he has one of the best seasons of his career, and he like proves everybody in New York like wrong, and I don't know.
But if that does happen, would you not like credit Victor Hedman for being on his defensive pairing and say that Victor Hedman made Dan Girardi a better player?
No, because I think Ryan McDonough's a better defenseman than Victor Hedman is. Defensively, maybe not.
That's debatable.
Maybe not the same offensive skill as Victor Hedman has with his shot and everything like that. But I mean, Ryan McDonough is one of the best defensemen, in the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
I think that not recently, but maybe a few years ago. I guess that is recently, but there was a trend of like the top pairing being their 2 best defensemen, maybe with like Peter Angelo and Shattenkirk when they were in St. Louis. They were on the same pairing for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I know Seabrook and Duncan Keith played together on the same pairing in Chicago for a little while, and those seemed to work. So I don't know. I think that if you have your first pairing, a really strong pairing.
If your first pairing, but if you make your first pairing too strong,
the rest.
Then what's your third pairing gonna look like?
Yeah. Well, you just play your first pairing 30 minutes a game, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and then you'll break down at the end of the year like St. Louis's defense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you got, Des?
Well, that's pretty interesting prediction there, Dylan. Good job. Anyways, so
said good job.
Thanks, Dad.
So for the Eastern Conference, for the Metropolitan Division, definitely see it's definitely gonna be a tight race for Pittsburgh.
Just say Pittsburgh
and Washington taking first place in the Metropolitan. I would also think one of them, either Pittsburgh or Washington, will take first place in the Eastern Conference. I mean, Washington last year had 118 points, Pittsburgh with 111. So I definitely think, like I said, one of them will definitely take the top Metropolitan Division.
Right behind them this year is Detroit Red Wings with 90-plus points.
It's gonna be a tough call with the Islanders. Definitely this year. I mean, I really think a lot of that will do with John Tavares and his decision for if he wants to be traded and all that, because there's a lot of talk about that this past offseason and everything. With
the Islanders are going to be in a fire sale because they're not even going to have an arena to play in. So they're just going to sell everything. They're going to just trade everybody that with any value at all for whatever they could get for it. And then they'll just hope that they find a new place to play somewhere eventually and start over new. Yeah.
And I mean, I could see, this Metropolitan Division is just so tough. Because, I mean, a lot of the teams definitely stacked up this year or this offseason for this year. I definitely could see the Devils being a better team, not finishing last in the Metropolitan Division. I could see Carolina being a better team.
Bold prediction, not finishing last.
Name me one player besides Taylor Hall and the New Jersey Devils right now.
Travis Zajac.
Okay. And Corey Schneider. Name me
Corey Schneider.
Name me anyone besides Taylor Hall and the New Jersey Devils.
Doesn't matter. I'm not a big Devils fan. I don't know what to tell you.
They play your team a million times a year. You should know a little bit more about them.
He knows that they suck. That's all he knows about them.
But my friend from work's going to hate me. He's a huge Devils fan. Anyways, so that's the reason why I think the Rangers will finish in a wild card spot is because you have the Washington Capitals, you have the Pittsburgh Penguins, you have the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yeah, those three teams, again, are just so stacked and so difficult to play against. And that's why I don't see the Rangers making a top 3 spot. I see them making a wild card spot again. Could they go deeper into the playoffs than they did last year? I believe they can. Do I believe they have a chance at a Stanley Cup run? Like everybody says for the team, sure, I believe they can. But the Rangers are definitely a better team this year than last year, especially with the buyout of Dan Girardi, sending him, shipping him away. Thank God. Rest in peace. And
he didn't die.
He's leaving. Bye. Yeah. And then, with the signing of Kevin Shattenkirk, that was a huge deal. And some of these rookies, though, that I believe are going to be making the team and everything like that, it's definitely going to make it for an interesting whole bunch of lineups here. But
some of the rookies making the team. Weren't you on the podcast last week when James told you only Leah Sanderson was making the team?
No, I believe it's Philip Scheitel. I believe that's how you pronounce his name.
Sounds like Philip Shitty.
But I do believe he could make the team too. But I mean, let's be honest here, right? Henrik Lundqvist isn't getting any younger. Yep.
Oh, he's definitely getting older.
He's definitely getting older. And his prime, he's still a top elite goaltender, but
better than Jonathan Quick.
I do believe he's better than Jonathan Quick.
Oh my God! I'm pretty sure he broke his hip when Alec Martinez scored him in the playoffs. Just saying. Anyways, back to the Eastern Conference.
We're not talking about the Western Conference right now, Rob. That'll be next week.
Saving the best for last.
Back to rookies making the team. I think I forgot to the Devils had the first pick and they picked Nico Hershey, whatever his name is, Hershey.
Defenseman.
Yeah. So I think he may help out a little bit too. So that could be
absolutely.
That could help.
Absolutely, and that's where the Devils definitely sucked last year.
You think rookie defensemen really help a team that much?
Oh, Shane Gostisbehere did pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
did he help the team out though? I mean, the players individually do good, but did they really impact the team on that? Like in 2 years maybe, but like the very next year.
I said Philly's done nothing in the past few years with Gostisbehere, I guess, but Aaron Ekblad, like you were going to say, has been pretty good. I mean, Larson's been pretty good.
Aaron Ekblad, his first year, I mean, he was a good player. He was like top 2 pick. They didn't really do that much better than they were before. I mean, in the long haul, it's going to help out for sure. Like same with the like Drew Doughty, top 2 pick. King's still not good. In the long run, the Devils are going to be better because they have a top defenseman now. But next year, I don't know if they'll make that big of an impact. Still a couple years away for them.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. But I don't think they'll finish last in the division like they did last year.
Who's going to finish last then?
I would say the Carolina Hurricanes are going to finish last in the division.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But like I said, all these teams have stacked up over the off season here, and so it's really is just a really tight knit division. And
I think the Hurricanes are going to finish last. I think you're right. I think it's going to go.
You don't think Philly's going to be last?
No.
Philly's not good though.
But yes, I mean they aren't that good, but I don't.
No, they're not. They're not that good. They're not good at all.
No,
Philly's not good.
Offense, so they've got Claude Giroux and Couturier, and they have Nolan Patrick now or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I think they've got a little bit more offense than Carolina does. So I think they'll finish second to last, but they're not going to, or third to last, I guess.
I think Philly has better individual talent, but I think Carolina plays better as a team offensively.
Interesting.
Okay, go ahead.
So I mean, that was about it. That's what I really had for the Metropolitan. It's really hard division to try to make predictions with, because it's so tight and all those teams are ridiculous. I believe it's one of the hardest divisions in the league. So
except for the Islanders.
Moving on to the Atlantic Division, obviously you have the Montreal Canadiens. You're going to have the Toronto Maple Leafs. I do agree with Dylan that Toronto is really going to step it up this year, I believe, as well. I disagree with you on the defensive thing with Tampa Bay, but I don't believe Tampa is going to make the playoffs this year. Florida, definitely not.
Wait. You just said that Tampa Bay is not as bad defensively as Dylan said, but they're still not making the playoffs?
I don't think Tampa will still make the playoffs.
But they're still good defensively.
But they're better defensively now than they were last year. You know what I mean?
I think their division is pretty good though too. And you've got Toronto, you've got Ottawa, you've got Montreal.
Ottawa's not going to be that good.
And they've got Boston too, who Boston is always hit or miss.
No,
Ottawa's not going to be that good.
I think Ottawa's going to step it up though.
No, they're going to step down.
I think they may be a surprising team because of
their run last year.
Because of their run last year, they're hungry. You know what I mean? They want it again, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
They haven't lost anything really. I mean, they didn't really make any off-season moves or anything. So they're if they're going to stay the course, then they'll continue where they were at, I think.
But wasn't Arizona that surprising team a couple years ago when they made their Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, I guess.
And they didn't lose anything except for every other game after that.
Who's going to finish last in the Atlantic?
I believe Buffalo's going to finish last in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
I think Boston.
Buffalo just doesn't have all the pieces right now, I mean, they have some of, some of the kids there, but
I think Buffalo's going to be pretty good this year, I think. They got pretty good defensemen. They got a good – Robin Leonard's not that bad.
Who's their – they've got Ristolainen. You think he's going to carry them defensively?
I mean, they still got Zach Bogosian, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think Zach Bogosian's anything that he was when he was in Winnipeg. No. We talked
about this yesterday. Is he better than Dan Girardi?
I don't know. I don't watch enough Sabres games to be able to talk about Bogosian.
I don't think people in Buffalo watch enough Sabres games.
I don't know. I think, I'm going to be a biased Red Wings fan. I think it's going to be Panthers or Boston are going to finish last in the division. But
could be the Wings. I don't know. Panthers lost a lot this offseason. They lost all their scoring pretty much. Yager's still not there. I don't know if he's gone. He's not there. He's nowhere pretty much.
And he was a big piece of that score.
Yeah, and Marchessault had 30 goals. Yeah, he got taken in expansion draft. Riley Smith's not there. That's a lot of offensive loss in Florida.
They lost Thomas Vanek too, which was a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got Alexander Barkov still, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but are Barkov and Ekblad going to carry you as far as
I mean, it's been done before.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh well.
That's basically my prediction there for them. I mean, it's like I said with the Atlantic, Montreal I think will be taken in first spot again in the Atlantic. I do believe Toronto will be right behind them, and then I would put Ottawa behind them as well. I believe all three Canadian teams in the Atlantic Division will be making that top three spot.
Okay.
So,
well, Buffalo's almost a Canadian team.
Almost.
Anyways,
Robbie.
Yes.
What do you got for us being in the Western Conference? But now we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference. So, what do you got for us?
What?
What?
What do you have in regards to the Eastern Conference?
Oh, okay. I agree.
Great.
Do we think here's one? Do we think Panarin's going to help out Columbus at all?
Is he going to be better than Brandon Saad was there? Probably not. I don't know. He's going to be probably better offensively, but I mean, how much of Panarin's offense was based off of the rest of Chicago's team?
Exactly.
We don't know because he's always played with Chicago. So
I've got a lot to say about Chicago. So for next week, I've got a lot to say about Chicago.
Ooh, teaser.
Which is most of the time because you know that I'm a great, huge Blackhawks fan. So
you guys want to have some fun?
Always.
Yeah, Daddy.
All right. You guys want to play sign cut trade?
Do it.
All right. Well, let's lay down the rules here since it's the first time for us playing this on the podcast. Sign cut trade is going to be a game we're going to play. Maybe we'll do it a couple more times. sign one, you got to cut one, you got to trade one. So we're just going to list 3 random players, and we're going to get some answers out of us. So who wants to start?
Are we doing it with our rosters of our teams or anybody?
Just pick 3 random players anywhere.
So if you were building like a fantasy, or if you had like your own fantasy team, and
like if you're the GM right now and you had to sign one, you had to cut one, you had to trade one, you got to lay down the law.
All right. Are we just doing current players like in the league right now?
Yeah, we'll just do current players. Make it easy. We'll do other stuff later on. Okay, so you want me to list 3 guys and
go for it.
All right, sign, cut, trade. Duncan Keith, Eric Carlson, Drew Doughty.
Duncan Keith, Eric Carlson, Drew Doughty. I would sign Eric Carlson.
Ugh.
I would. I think I would have to trade. Damn, that's a hard one.
Yep, that's the point of it.
There's a whole bunch of good D there.
I'll show you some good D later.
Damn. I think you'd have to.
You already signed Eric Carlson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Totally. Then I think you'd have to. I think you'd have to trade. I think you'd have to trade Duncan Keith and cut Drew Doughty.
You're gonna cut Drew Doughty.
Yep.
You're gonna cut Drew Doughty.
Wow,
Yep.
You're gonna cut Drew Norris Doughty, huh?
Yeah.
Instead of Duncan Keith, who's older and not as good as Drew Doughty.
Yep.
And he has no teeth.
Well, either does Drew Doughty.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, why would you sign? Let me ask you that. Why would you sign Eric Carlson over Drew Doughty?
I believe Eric Carlson's more of an offensive force than Drew Doughty is.
So you're going to base your team off of offense from the back end?
Not exactly, but he's also a very good defenseman as well.
What?
I said he's also a very good defenseman as well.
Eric Carlson's a good defensive defenseman?
I didn't say defensive defenseman. I said he's a good defenseman as well.
You want to get in on this, Dunk?
Yeah. So
I see what you're saying there. Okay.
All right. So if I were to sign one, I would sign Drew Doughty. I would trade Eric Carlson because I think he's at the peak of his game. You can get so much for him.
Yep, that's right.
I think you would obviously cut Duncan Keith because he's old. And
because you have to cut somebody.
And because he plays for the Blackhawks, so I don't want him on my team anyways.
Well, I think you guys, if you got to pick out of those, I think you definitely got to trade Eric Carlson right now because he's got the highest trade value. And you're going to get the most for him right now than you'll ever get from him ever again. And I don't know if that's actually a guy you want to center your franchise on because he's not a true defenseman. He's a forward playing defense, kind of like Jack Johnson was in his younger stages of his career. But that's just my opinion. All right, Des, you got 3 names for us?
I got 3 names for you, yes.
Then all right, go ahead.
Sign, cut, and trade. All right, let's go with the All-Stars here with the elite players. So you got Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby. I hate that guy. And let's go with PK Subban.
Ooh. You want to go first, Dunk?
No, because I wasn't listening. So can you go first?
Okay. Well, let's see. You said Alex Ovechkin. You said Sidney Crosby and PK Subban?
Yep.
Oh, this is easy.
I would sign PK Subban just because I'm a fan of building your team from the goaltender out through the middle. So you got to start with the goalie, defense, centers. That's how I build my team. And I would like PK Subban over the rest of his career rather than Sidney Crosby. So I guess I would trade Sidney Crosby because I could get secondary players and probably a good goaltender for him. And I guess I'd cut Alexander Ovechkin.
Mine is the same as yours for all the same reasons. So Ovechkin's old and I think he's kind of one-dimensional. He can only really score goals.
Yeah. I don't know. If you wanted to trade him, though, if you're trading him at trade deadline, a bunch of teams would give you first-round picks and young prospects, top elite prospects, just to have him for the playoff push. So I mean,
yeah, but I think teams would trade for Crosby more than they would trade for Ovechkin, though. Just
yeah, he's a better two-way player.
He's got defensive upside, and
he still scores goals.
He's a better leader than Ovechkin is, I think, too. And then signing Subban because of the same reasons. I mean, I grew up watching Nick Lidstrom, so I know how important a good defenseman is. So that's why I think Subban is just now hitting his stride. I think so. I think in the next few years he'll finally show up.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a good, solid defenseman, top of the league defenseman. But like in the next year or two, he's going to be the elite top 3 defenseman in the league for the next 5-6 years. So,
yeah.
What do you think, Des?
I can agree with all that. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess that one was easy. I guess a lot easier than mine, apparently, since we all agree. What about you, Dunk? You got 3 names?
Yep. All right. I'm going with goal scorers here. So you're going to sign, cut, and trade Patrick Laine, Phil Kessel, and Steven Stamkos.
Oh, I'll take the first one again.
Okay.
You want to go?
Right. No, yeah.
Go.
So I would totally trade Stamkos because he has health issues. I would have
and Phil Kessel just has weight issues, and Des is a big fan of that. So
yeah, so I would side Patrick Laine and cut Phil Kessel.
Des is the Phil Kessel of this podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, he definitely got to sign Laine, so that's easy. I mean, he's going to have for the rest of his career, he's going to put up more numbers than Phil Kessel for the rest of his career, and same with Stamkos, but. I don't know. You think Kessel gets more in a trade than Stamkos? I mean, probably not. So
I don't think he'd get more of a trade value, but like we've talked about on last week's podcast again, was the injuries that Stamkos has received and how many concussions and all the other stuff this dude had is not hot.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, I mean, position-wise, I think people are more likely to trade for center. They're more highly touted than wingers are because wingers are a dime a dozen almost.
That's
especially because you could play centers at wing, but you can't always play wingers at center. So if you have a chance to get in a top center, you're going to trade for one or you're going to do whatever you can to get one. And Stamkos right now is still a top center. So I agree. Trade Stamkos, cut Phil Kessel.
So I think another thing to think about, though, too, is that Stamkos just signed a huge contract, though, too. 8 years and for like $8 or $9 million a year, which is
so if you cut him, that's a huge buyout.
That's a huge buyout. Also,
they're paying for their 16 years.
Who's going to trade for that huge contract too? But also, I think Stamkos could be a good locker room guy, though, too. He decided to stay with Tampa Bay when other teams were offering him a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, loyalty.
Loyalty, exactly. But the injuries are a problem too. Phil Kessel, I would probably trade Kessel, obviously.
Wait, so are you saying you would cut Stamkos?
Actually, I would flip it around. I would trade Stamkos if I could. It would be pretty difficult to trade Stamkos, but I mean the Oilers traded Gretzky though too. So.
Yeah, teams will still trade for guys with injury problems. Like Gabrick has always had injury problems. He's been traded. I don't know. Did he get traded to the Rangers? He signed as free agent? I'm not sure.
I don't know. All I remember is him flipping over Dominic Hasek when he was on the Minnesota Wild. So.
Well, that was a highlight of his century. So
that's when his injury started.
Yeah, he injured his pride.
Yeah,
it's been downhill since.
Yeah, so I would sign Laine obviously because he's going to be an elite goal scorer. I'd have him actually doing a lot better this season than.
Is that another teaser for the predictions show that we're going to do?
Yeah. And then so then trade Stammer if I can, and then cut.
So it's unanimous again.
Yeah,
we all agree.
Yep.
Okay, so here's another one. Now we're gonna guess we'll go to the goaltenders. We covered forwards and defensemen.
Gonna go goalies. All right.
So you have Carey Price from the Montreal Canadiens, Braden Holtby from the Washington Capitals, and Sergei Bobrovsky from the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Ooh, take it, Dunk.
I wasn't listening again.
Good start.
I was just kidding. I was listening. So it was Price, Bobrovsky, and
Holtby.
Braden Holtby. Okay. Sign Holtby.
Oh,
interesting. Okay.
Trade. Oh God, hold on.
Yeah, that's a tough one because we're all.
Yeah. And they're kind of. Oh God, no. I'd probably sign Bobrovsky because he's the youngest. Sign Bobrovsky. Yeah, he's the youngest. I don't know how old he is, but I do know that he's the youngest.
Oh, okay. Well, there's some solid facts to back up your statement.
Sign Bobrovsky, and then I would cut Price and trade Holtby.
Just because you don't like the Canadians?
Well, yeah, and I think Carey Price has had some injuries over the last few years,
and with the injuries, yeah,
and he's been in the league for a while too. So
you think could be past his prime?
Yeah, I think he's probably got 5 years or less left.
In his career,
probably,
or just in his elite.
Maybe in his elite.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So I would sign. Who did you sign? Did you sign Bobrovsky?
Yeah,
sign Bobrovsky.
Yeah, I'd sign Bobrovsky too, just because I don't know. I'm a big fan of Bobrovsky. I like the Bob men do. I would trade Carey Price because I know, like, teams like the Oilers would die for a goaltender like Carey Price, especially if they're trying to make a run this next year or the year after, because they got Connor McDavid and everybody else in their young prime of their careers coming up. So they'd definitely make a big push to get Carey Price to push them all the way to Stanley Cup.
More than Braden Holtby?
I think Carey Price is more coveted than Braden Holtby, so I guess I get rid of Braden Holtby. I mean, he has won the Vezina.
Bobrovsky is 28 and Holtby is 28, so the same age, and Price is 30.
Yeah, well, Price is oldest and the most injuries, but that's why I would trade him, because still people think he's got still at least another good year at the very least in his back pocket. So if you're going to trade him now, and for that team making the playoff push. And I'd cut the Vezina winner Braden Holtby because I don't like him. So there.
I would totally have to agree 100% with Rob. I would cut Price. I was
cutting Braden Holtby, so I don't know how you're agreeing.
No, I'm sorry. Like you said.
Now he's changing his answers. He's embarrassed.
Cut Holtby, trade Price, and sign Bobrovsky. 100%. Like you said, with the injury thing that Carey Price has been going through a lot recently the past few years, I just totally agree with you on that one.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
I think everyone's been agreeing with me because I'm the smartest one here.
You are very smart.
I'm so smart that I might actually read a book. And I know that Des won't read a book. And I know that Dylan probably reads a book or two.
But I've read before.
But speaking of books,
I like picture books.
Picture books.
Now you got him laughing at his own jokes. Picture books.
Picture books. That's pretty good. But speaking of books, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably don't know how to read. But if you do, you should listen to Got It Covered, a book club podcast where hosts Jamie, Jeff, and Jesus try to make books seem interesting. Just look it up on iTunes. Got It Covered, and follow them on Twitter at Got It Covered Pod.
All right, thanks for the ad, Des. I'm surprised you could actually read it, since we know you're not the most highly educated person here. But whatever.
He's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
He's not the brightest crayon in the box.
Anyways, so this was our podcast for today. Our Eastern Conference predictions, a little fun game of sign, cut, and trade. Hope you guys enjoyed. The first time we've had Dylan Duncan on the podcast here with us. And it's just another fun night here. And I hope you guys enjoyed everything. And like we've said before, hit us up on Gmail at aroundtheboardspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @_ATB podcast. And follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/aroundtheboards.
Quick shout out here to my boy Axel. He's our number one fan, the number one listener. He's the biggest supporter of Around the Boards podcast. And I just want to shout him out real quick, just to let him know that we really do appreciate it. I love you. Let us know if you want to hear more dick jokes like we did last week, because I think that was hilarious.
Or just let us know if you have a dick.
Anyways, I think that wraps it up for us here. That was a pretty good way to end it, I guess. So.
Yeah. We'll be back next week with another episode, another more in-depth look of this whole NHL, including our predictions then with the Western Conference.
The Western Conference.
Yeah, okay, bud. So check it out then, and we'll be back with that one next weekend. So that's it for now. We'll see you guys later. Say goodbye. Goodbye.
Dunk.
Bye.
See you next Tuesday.